Hey y'all, it's Danielle from Black Business Boom and Black Owned Nashville. And I am so excited today to be just talking to you guys. I've been talking to you all day, but I'm really excited to bring to you the entrepreneur's therapist, Erica Kesse, who's going to be talking to us entrepreneurs, especially about all of the emotional things that we have to deal with as entrepreneurs, as business owners. I feel like it's something that we don't talk about enough. And there are so many ups and downs, and some days you high, some days you low. And Erica has truly been a gem in helping me to deal with all of those things as well as other things that stand in our way and keep us from being as successful as we could be in business. So welcome, Erica. How are you?
I am doing so well. Thank you so much. And I'm so honored to be here. So honored to be a part of the Black People Making Moves community, as well as Black Business Booms. Just, pleased to be here. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. I really, like I said, I think mental health is, we've talked about how it's just a stigma around it in our community. And I think even more in the entrepreneur community, like where many of us are just trying to act like we holding it all together and everything is great. And meanwhile, like one day we getting a big contract and we're happy, but then we're overwhelmed. The next day we sad because we lost a contract, so it's just like all of these ups and downs that we deal with literally on an hourly basis, sometimes like ideally it would even be on a weekly or a daily basis, but sometimes it's like a high 1 hour and a low, the next hour while we're still trying to manage our lives and our families and our kids and our pets. So it's just a lot of things. So let's jump on in and start talking about these things, because I know you have some tips for us on how do we tap into the emotional things that we're dealing with and not brush them off and act like they don't exist. And then how do we actually deal with them? So let's talk about where do we start as business owners? Where do we start with identifying like I might need some help, or I need to help myself or do some things with my mental health?
You know what? The first thing that I say to people, and this is one of the things that I kind of hold clients to, and when they finally do this, we cooking, is if you cannot sit with yourself for 15 minutes with no distractions, no TV, no phone, no kids, no dog, no cat, no cooking, nothing. You can just sit there and be with yourself, your mind, your heart, your gut. If you cannot do that, then you probably should spend some time with someone that can help you tap into yourself.
So tell me what the benefit is of doing that. And that is hard. Like that's something we talked about. The only time I really do that is when I'm on the massage table. Like, and the interesting thing is I get the most clarity in the world, during that time, that hour that I'm on the massage table. I get all the ideas. I feel great like when I leave, other than just physically. So tell us, like, what are the benefits of us really just sitting with ourselves?
Well, so there's tons of benefits, even health benefits. It can lower your blood pressure. It can help with, it helps you physically understand your body and live from your body instead of operating it. So that you actually know what's going on with your body. A lot of times we kind of ignore the signs, the telltale signs, because our body tells us exactly what's happening with us, even emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Like we find out things if you spend time with your body. So first of all, you recognizing anything that's going on in your body by being still. Okay. Also, everyone talks about having the right mindset, right? You cannot have control of your mind without first having control of your emotionality. It all is together. We are a full being, and we're not just the mind, we're not just our emotions, and we're not just our gut. So you need to have some alignment there inside of you. And the only way you can have alignment is to spend time with yourself and ask your heart, what is it wanting to tell you? What's the benefits? There's so many benefits. You will, you know how when you are a business owner, the whole goal is to have individuals to know, like, and trust you. But how
Mhm.
in the world can you get somebody to know, like, and trust you when you don't even know, like, and trust you?
Ooh, look at that there. Like that. You said something, and that's so important, And the thing is, sometimes we're just so busy and caught up in doing things that we don't even know what's going on with us. We don't even know that we're sad, And I think as Black women, there's a meme I've seen floating around where a lady said that her therapist told her that sometimes we feel like we're failing, we feel like we are depressed or failing, but it's really depression. Like you just are like, I'm not doing as well as I should be doing in life, and we're beating up on ourselves when really we're dealing with anxiety or depression, and we've not sat long enough to even realize what's going on with us, and that we are holding on to stuff that's impacting us, and can be impacting us in a physical way as well. So once we recognize, and I think that every business owner I know can attest to it being a up and down every day, So 1 minute I'm high, 1 minute I'm low. We all say that we feel that way. How do we deal with it? I think my first question is that okay? And I know it is, but some other people, feel like they're crazy, or they. So is that okay? And then once we have identified that feeling, or that we need some help, what do we do next?
Okay, so let me first answer the question, is it okay? Um, our emotionality actually does do this. It is up and down like this. Certain things just normally, okay, all of us biologically, our emotionality is up and down. And it's more of kind of like a normal wave back and forth. Now, when you have an extreme high of like, um, energy that you can just, you feel like you can just jump off a building and fly. Or if you're deep down in a hole and you go from that high mania down into a pit, then that's a difference than having a normal emotionality that goes this way.
Mm.
So yes, it is normal, okay, for you to feel what you feel, and you're supposed to feel. If you don't get a contract, or if you're having issues with not having enough sales because you wanted a certain quota in the day, you should feel the upsetness, whatever you feel, that comes up in you, and actually sit in that. That's what I'm asking individuals to do, is to sit in their emotions and feel their emotions. So we learn as children a lot of times to not cry, not be mad, not be this, or not feel in certain ways, because basically our parents couldn't handle our emotionality. So we learn to stop it up. So if you imagine a hose pipe where you have your hand and you're not allowing your emotions to come through, because that's what you've always been taught to do. Hold them, push them down, reason them away, bottle them up, put them in compartments. And that's what you do. And you hold it. But it's actually, after a while, your hand gets a little tired and you let go. And guess what happens to all the emotions? They spray all over everybody and
Yeah.
everything. And then you fall down or you get sick. Okay. Like, people get sick.
Mm.
People have panic attacks. They lash out at other people. They yell at other people. A lot of things occur physically after
Mm.
holding your emotionality. So when I ask you to do the 15 minutes, that's you getting in touch with yourself and letting yourself process your emotions and yourself. Going back into that, in that time of being with yourself, it can boost your immune system. So it allows you to actually not get sick if you do spend time with yourself. It allows you to also reduce your blood pressure, your cholesterol. It allows you
Mm.
to decrease inflammation. increase your efficiency of your oxygen, which a lot of times, sometimes I find that a lot of clients are not breathing. They're just holding their breath and they don't recognize that they're not breathing until someone says, "Are you breathing?" I had a client tell me that they was having headaches and the only thing I asked her to do was to blink. Sometimes we're looking at the screen for so long, we don't look up from the screen and we're not blinking. You got to look away from the screen and blink your eyes.
No, you're right. I'm like, it's so funny you said, because sometimes somebody will be like, take a deep breath, and then you take the deep breath and you like, what type of breathing have I been doing? You know, like, because it feels good, you know, to have that release. And we are just tense and we hold our shoulders and we just, you know, there are a lot of things, you know, and many of them come from, you know, our mental state. That's, man, you know, and again, there are things we just don't even think about, and they're impacting us and they're impacting those around us. And so I want to make sure we talk about that, because as business owners, both male and female, or however you identify, we have people in our lives, children, family, other family members, people, significant others, are, like you said, just people everywhere that we deal with every day. And many times we struggle in those relationships because we're trying to hold together this business and we feel like they can't understand it, you know, and they don't understand what I'm going through. And it can be a very lonely feeling, you know. Yeah, no, they don't, you know, like if we're being real, you know, like someone who doesn't have to, especially like for full-time entrepreneurs, like my livelihood and my ability to live every day depends on the work I do. That's, I can't have FMLA, you know, it's on me, you know. And so that's a whole different level of stress. But we have to find ways to have healthy relationships with those around us. So what are some tips that you can give us if we are struggling in that area, or even if we're just trying to do better in that area as entrepreneurs, to really manage the relationships with the people who are important to us?
Okay. I'm so happy that you brought this up because I feel very sure about telling you this information. I feel like I really didn't have it until I turned like 39 myself, and I'm 40. So let me tell you, I got it now and it feels so good. And let me tell you how I got there, okay? Okay, it was a lot of that time spending with myself. So you have to really know yourself, okay? And in knowing yourself, you all have heard this, the care that you give to yourself. And basically, that's the things that you like. So first step is, what do you like? I would challenge you all just to sit down and figure that out, because a lot of times we're accommodating other people and we don't even know what we like. And that has everything to do with your relationships. You have to know what you like. So then you can have, you know, y'all heard this word, boundaries around what you like and what you don't like, what you're going to interact with and what you're not going to interact with, what is good for you and what is bad for you, instead of you going through the motions of just going along and accommodating other people. You have to hold true to who you are. So you got to clear out. These are the tips that I have. You have to clear out the leeches. There are individuals who are interacting with you and they're only interacting with you based on getting something from interacting with you. These may be family members. They may be like, oh, she out there doing entrepreneur stuff. You know, she gonna make all this money. She's out here marketing. We finna hang out. You may need to think about if they make you feel like sunshine, if they make you feel ignited, and it's a flow of energy. There's a joy about interacting with them. You don't even want to not interact with them. That's who you should have in your corner. That's who you should be around. Otherwise, you may need to look at your relationship with, it doesn't matter, mama, daddy, sister, cousin. First of all. Second of all, identify what your values are. We have to know what we are about. What are you about? What are you about? What are your values? What do you hold true? What are the principles that you're holding on to? And so once you know what your values are, you can then assert yourself and say, it's not my value to do this particular thing or this behavior or interact in this way. And sometimes you yourself need to know that to kind of keep you on the straight and narrow of who you are going towards your vision, if you have it clear in your mind. And so that's something that is definitely that you need to do. And then going back to understanding what you like. And when you understand what you like, you're going to find individuals and do the things that you like. And the people are going to be there for you who will nourish you because you're doing something that you like and you enjoy. They're going to be there. Y'all, I am surrounded by the most beautiful people because they do what I like. They are around me. They look for me. They check for me. They track me. They support me. I always wanted safety, support, and enhancement, which is what I give to others. And I did not get it myself until I gave it to myself. Then everyone knew that I was valuable enough to give it to. You out here looking for consistency, you looking for commitment, you looking for whatever you looking for, but you're not even that. Don't get me started, Danielle. Let me go
I'm
on.
like, no, you said a lot. And we have to show up as our true selves as well. And I think that's just so important. I was telling somebody the other day that when I first started my relationship with my fiance, I spent probably 6 months to a year showing up as what I thought that he wanted me to be, the person I thought that he would like and fall in love with. And it wasn't until I showed him the true me that he actually started to like me and love me. And I'm like, man, when we show up as ourselves and are true to who we are and the lives we want to live and the things that we like and like to do, that's when other people can truly see us and respect who we are as a person. And I love that. And I think that it's great to be transparent as well about, and again, dealing with some of our own issues is going to allow us to show up better in our relationships, have those conversations and communicate in a way that's meaningful and helps us to build better relationships. And so that is, it's like you cannot have great relationships with other people if you do not have a great relationship with yourself. And that is one of the main things that working with you has really made me understand greatly, is that having a great relationship with myself and then dealing with whatever trauma, and that I have had is the best way for me to show up as my true self and to be able to have these great relationships. So there's so much more we could talk about today, but we have time for that and we will continue these conversations. But I think it's just so important that we acknowledge the importance of our mental health as entrepreneurs. It's so important. We are really just out here floating along a lot of times and barely hanging on. So then when our spouse does one little thing we don't like, we ready to snap because we just had a bad day. Like we've been holding it together and all it took was that one little thing. They didn't even do nothing for it, but then we were ready to snap. But it's really what's going on with our business or something that's going on internally or a feeling of not being good enough. It's all these things that we are dealing with, and we have to learn how do we deal with them and how do we express and communicate with those around us so that they probably will never truly understand our lives, but they can start to be understanding. So
you be a role model to them. If you start really working on yourself, they'll look and see, you'll feel different to them. And then they'll want to know more about that, about it and what you're doing. And you even give them the tips that you're doing, in your life. Because I know you brought some things back and shared, like,
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and
Okay,
again, just
let's do communication better. Let's use
the
I feel statements. There's just certain things.
and the
Yeah.
things that you learn in dealing with your emotions and things in therapy also translate to business. So when you learn to communicate better with your partner, that's going to translate to the conversations that you have with people who you're trying to sell on your product or service as well. So there's just, I mean, endless benefits to us working on ourselves. We always talk about this notion of working on our business versus in our business, which is very important. But we don't talk enough about working on ourselves. And that's outside of just reading books and listening to podcasts. So most of us have some work to do internally,
I
as Black
actually tell
people.
people to stop reading because sometimes they be sitting reading and that'll stop you. That's part of the imposter syndrome, trying
Yeah.
to be an expert. You reading all these books, you got to let it set in.
And I mean, as realistically as Black people, we've all experienced some sort of trauma and may continue to deal with it every day, especially those that are, balancing a job and they're trying to deal with the workplace and run a business. That's a whole nother level of stress that you got going on. And until you really deal with that and figure out how do you balance and manage it, you're not going to see the success that you're looking for. So we're going to keep these conversations going. Next month, we'll be back to talk even more about mental health and entrepreneurship, because again, I think it's just one of the most important things that I can have a conversation about. And this is even therapeutic, as we have the conversation. So thanks for my therapy session, and thanks for everybody for tuning in. If there are others that are out there and they're like, you know what, I probably need to talk to somebody. I am experiencing some of these things that you ladies talked about today. What is going to be the best way for them to reach out to you, Erica?
Yes. So you can reach out to me. I have it on a link tree, healyourselfgrow.org. It has all the options of interacting with me. There's even as low as buy me a book. It's $5 donation and we'll spend 15 minutes together. So,
Oh,
yeah. So
I
just
love
reach
it.
out, healyourselfgrow.org.
I love it. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Erica. I appreciate you. And